didn't get picked up by
doesn't
C.
want to talk about that
Yeah,
stuff.
exactly. So I only saw
They
it
shut that
internationally.
down.
Now, speaking of another international story, now we love all the content coming out of China. These guys, they don't disappoint. And earlier this week, it might actually be in poor taste, but so this gentleman was eating live centipedes and geckos on his IRL stream.
Yeah, that didn't
And he
go
died.
well.
Yeah, he died eating them live on the show.
That's tragic and sad, but it kind of also points out there should be limits to what you want to do for views. Hot sauce, as we've learned, is one of them.
Well, we both died after that episode.
But I came back.
Shells
but you know that again, it's not worth the views to do really actually high risk stuff.
That's true. That's true.
It's never going to be good.
And this guy paid for it. So.
Yeah. Okay. Oh, look at that! Great comments we're getting. Matt was just saying, sorry, we missed the first few minutes on YouTube because it didn't trigger for some reason, and that explains why Danny was saying while we're waiting.
Lisa's making the space.
So, we said hello. We said what we're going to be doing later, and we talked about a little bit of news.
Let's bring up our title. So, Lisa, why don't you
we'll
hit us with our
hit
our live at Epiphan title on there, or the just the lower third, just on the PC.
Yeah.
And we'll throw that guy up.
So
today we're talking to Paul Richards from PTZOptics about his review on our Pearl Mini.
Yeah, so we'll skip all the stuff we already did because the news was kind of boring this week anyways. And we'll jump into it. But I did want to say hi to people in chat. Colin Wilcox is in chat, who saw our test message earlier and said test received. So hey, Colin.
Nice.
Danny's in chat, who is saying he owns a Pearl Mini, but he hasn't used it with PTZ cameras. Tim Trott saying hello as usual. And Matt let us know from his desk that we kind of failed. And yeah. And Danny saying I had a YouTube trigger fail off of the Mini recently as well. Interesting.
Well, and we're not triggering YouTube via the hardware.
Well,
YouTube
no,
just starts
we start our push.
Facebook
we
starts
start our push well in advance, but maybe we didn't this time. Although they should be one single started.
It's okay. It's okay.
We'll.
When you were away, it was even like, oh man, when you're gone, nothing happened. Probably,
Faithful Mess also saying hello. So our delayed start, apologize for that, is just a simple operator error. So, but let's jump into today's topic. Let's bring in our guest.
Yeah.
And so let's bring in Paul. Hopefully Paul can hear us, and we'll bring in our split screen, and we'll say hi to Paul here.
Paul.
Hey, Paul.
Hi, guys. How you doing?
Good. Long time no see. It's been since Infocom that we've seen you and then had a chance to do much in person. Of course, we've chatted a bunch about this show and organizing some other stuff for your show tomorrow.
We're crossing streams.
Yeah,
we're crossing the streams
We'll
here.
talk about that more a little later. But today we wanted to talk to you about a video review and some experience you had using the Pearl Mini recently, and kind of dive into that. And that's about all I know of this show because I've been so buried in other work, and Cameron's been planning everything. So
we did recently send Paul a Pearl Mini, and he was testing it out. He was looking at the functionality. He did a full review, and we're actually going to play that review in a couple of minutes. Paul also talked about a new camera that PTZOptics is releasing. And I guess, Paul, was this like the first mention of this new camera?
With the webcam?
Yeah, the new webcam?
Yeah.
Yeah, in fact, maybe Brian, you could grab the webcam that's sitting on the. I can bring it in here. But yeah, we have a brand new PTZOptics webcam, really geared towards the eSports market, and it's USB 2.0. So we tested it. We can plug it right into the Pearl Mini, and it's been a lot of fun using it. This Pearl Mini has been incredible. I can't believe at this price point you have SDI inputs, HDMI inputs, and technically even more inputs with the USB 3.0.
Yeah, exactly. And yeah, it's interesting that you tested it with the USB one. Wrong cameras, of course.
Damn it, Brian.
We've been having a great time setting up for this show so far, so it's not surprising there's another wrench thrown at us in the middle. But I'm curious about this webcam. So what this webcam you've set up, you said it's USB 2.0, which makes it very easy to plug into a lot of different stuff. And you mentioned it's sort of focused on esports. Does that mean it's sort of
There
a
you go.
higher frame rate camera, or you're just setting it up as, like what sets this apart from, say, a C920, the world's most popular webcam?
Well, gamers don't move very fast. They don't need a high frame rate.
Well, the this webcam has a f1.8 lens with a 3.1 millimeter f-stop.
Okay.
So it's pretty high quality, and so we worked for a long time trying to figure out the best lens that we could put on this to give really for esports and gamers to get that generally 3 to 5, like maybe even a foot to 2 foot away from the camera, and to capture a really high quality image. We're going to TwitchCon in San Diego, and we just released a Twitch extension for our PTZ camera models.
Oh,
so this was
interesting.
kind of a companion to that. The Twitch extension allows the audience to control the PTZ camera during their favorite broadcaster's stream.
Okay.
And so this is really just kind of a companion to that, as we, I can't say everything we're planning for the esports market, but we're planning kind of a new esports camera line, if you will. And this is kind of the first dabble into that.
Awesome. That's really exciting. I can't wait to hear more about that. That extension sounds really, really cool, actually. I like the sounds of that.
Totally.
Twitch
Well,
extensions are such a new thing, right? And there's so many new ones popping up and people figuring out how to use them. So that's a cool one. I'm interested to play around with that.
Are there a lot of hacks when it comes to Twitch, like community-made extensions, or is it just the ones that are released officially through Twitch?
That might be something we have to do a separate show on.
Okay, cool. Well, I was going to say, because with obviously with OBS, you have a lot of user-created ones. There's no
Yeah, but
support.
there
You
are
don't
some
get
that-
any
anyway.
like you're not going to be able to get Joe Blow to fix any bugs that you might have discovered.
No.
but
There's
with
some
an actual,
officially supported ones. There's a whole bunch of stuff that's been created.
But
So-
having a PTZ extension obviously is very cool, because
Yeah.
you guys will offer ongoing support. I imagine future development for that extension as well.
Yeah, I mean, I'm really excited about it. I cannot wait to really debut it at TwitchCon because it's been out for a couple months, and we haven't really made a huge announcement because we're kind of waiting for a few things to fall into place. But it is available, and at the end of this month, we're all Twitch has just announced the ability to have extensions be used with their monetized bit format, their monetary value of bits. So technically, by the end of this month, we're working with Twitch to allow viewers to pay bits to their favorite
use that
broadcaster to
extension.
take control of the camera. So I think it's going to be a really interesting new way to kind of monetize, even if it's just like a backstage of a rock concert, to
Right.
be able to take control of that camera directly through a content delivery network like Twitch.
So
Yeah,
this
that's really
webcam has
interesting.
PTZ control? Like
No, it'll be for the other ones. So,
Oh,
yeah,
okay,
it'd be a cool. Yeah, no, I like the sound of that, and I'd love to talk more. I mean, we'll wait till TwitchCon to see your official announcement, of course, but I think we'll definitely end up sharing that on our news segment of the following show. When is TwitchCon, anyways? It's not one that we usually do.
It's like the last weekend of September. So it's like September 27th to the 29th, I believe.
Okay.
Yeah, the
okay.
27th to the 29th in San Diego.
So that's actually going to be really busy for you because you'll have just come home from IBC, I think, at that point.
September is one of the busiest months for trade shows. I had no idea. We've got the Experience conference in Orlando, then IBC, then WFX again in Orlando, and then San Diego TwitchCon. So we've got 4 or 5. There's actually one in Denver, Colorado too. There's a lot in September.
Yeah, we're only doing, of that list, we're only doing IBC, so of course we'll see you there in the middle of September. And we're going to have, I guess, more things to talk about for that, and we'll start plugging that all the time. Anyone who is in Amsterdam in the middle of September and is interested in checking out a lot of cool tech stuff and going to IBC to see us, see Paul and everyone at PTZOptics, definitely you'll want to check it out. IBC is a massive show and has a lot of cool stuff. So
we will actually be offering tickets for that as well, as we
we'll
normally do,
have
and
we'll have the pass
have some more
giveaway stuff.
booth information as well.
Yeah. So maybe let's dive into the reason that we had Paul joining us today, and that's the video review. So let's play the review and then discuss. How does that sound?
Sounds awesome. In this video, we will be testing the compatibility between PTZOptics SDI and USB camera models with the Epiphan Pearl Mini. The Epiphan Pearl Mini is an all-in-one video production system ideal for lecture capture and small live events. This compact unit is only 10 inches wide and less than 4 pounds. The Pearl Mini features a sleek 7-inch touchscreen you can use for control of the unit, with the ability to record and live stream engaging videos with multiple video and audio sources. So let's get started setting up this unit to discover some of the possibilities of connecting a PTZOptics camera via USB, SDI, HDMI, or RTSP streaming to get our video feeds into the Pearl Mini. Let's start by unboxing the Epiphan Pearl Mini. Let's go ahead and plug the unit into power and connect it to our local area network. Let's also insert an SD card that we will use for storage of our recorded video files. Epiphan recommends a minimum size of 64 gigabytes using a Class 10 or U3 SD card. Once the unit is connected to our network, we can log into the management page to start setting up our layouts. But first, let's set up our video and audio sources. For most lecture capture scenarios, we want to capture one camera and one presentation feed. For our camera input, we have multiple options. For long cable runs, we highly suggest using 3G SDI cabling, which can be run up to 300 feet and features professional locking connectors. You will notice that the PTZOptics SDI cameras feature both HDMI and SDI video outputs. Let's go ahead and connect the camera via HDMI and assume that the camera is located within 25 feet of the Pearl Mini. We can then use our second HDMI input for our PowerPoint presentation. When you connect your laptop to the HDMI input, you can either decide to set up your display settings to extend your desktop or mirror the main display. Either way, the Pearl Mini will now be able to see your computer's output and the camera feed from the PTZOptics camera. It's worth noting that you can also use the USB 3.0 inputs for cameras. Therefore, you can plug in a PTZOptics USB 3.0 camera model into the USB port, or you can use the new PTZOptics USB webcam as a video source. Another interesting way to add live video into the Pearl Mini leverages an IP protocol called RTSP. RTSP stands for Real-Time Streaming Protocol, and you can easily add live RTSP video inputs into the Pearl Mini using the configuration page. By default, your Epiphan Pearl Mini is set up as a DHCP device on your local area network. Therefore, you can find the Pearl Mini's IP address on your network by tapping the configuration cog in the bottom right-hand corner of the Pearl Mini's screen. When you tap the System Configuration button, you can find the device's IP address. You can now enter that IP address into any web browser and start to configure your Pearl Mini remotely. To add an RTSP input, you can click Add RTSP Input under the Input section. Assuming that your PTZOptics camera is already set up on your local area network, you can simply enter your camera's RTSP information into the Pearl's RTSP input areas. Your camera's RTSP input URL would look something like this: RTSP : your camera's IP address /1. You can leave the username and password fields blank and choose to add an audio delay to match your video. When you are using RTSP video over your local area network, there can be video delay of up to 1 to 2 seconds. So we only recommend adding RTSP video sources for wide-angle sources where lip sync would not be an issue. For example, a wide-angle camera position looking at a crowd, or a zoomed-in position on a projection screen. Now that we have our video sources set up, let's add our audio sources. The Pearl Mini features 2 XLR inputs, which can be used with mic or line level audio sources. Let's go ahead and plug in our XLR microphones, one for the presenter and one for the audience. It's now time to configure our Epiphan Pearl Mini layouts. Using the custom layout editor, you can create multiple layouts for your channel for completely different looks, like picture-in-picture or a side-by-side video source. You can also add media like transparent images and custom backgrounds to any layout. And then you can resize and arrange all the different video and media elements the way that you want. When you're ready to stream or record, you can switch between these different layouts for more interesting and dynamic presentations. With the Pearl Mini, we can stream and record at the same time. We have the option to record video via MP4, AVI, or MOV file formats, which are stored directly on the SD card we inserted to the Mini earlier. With streaming, we can publish to any RTMP server or CDN, such as Facebook, YouTube, or Twitch, but also learning management systems such as Kaltura and more. So that's pretty much it. Please leave a comment below if you have any questions about the Epiphan Pearl Mini and PTZOptics camera integration. We've tested the PTZOptics cameras at resolutions up to 1920 by 1080p at up to 60 frames per second. So don't forget to subscribe because you won't become a video production expert overnight, and our channel is a great resource that you can use to bolster your industry knowledge. Don't forget to share this video with someone you think that might be interested in the Epiphan Pearl Mini and PTZOptics cameras.
Perfect.
That's
All
it.
right.
That was really well done. Thanks, Paul.
Yeah, that was a great video. Thanks, Paul. Welcome back, everyone. Hope you enjoyed that clip. Of course, that video is up on the PTZOptics YouTube channel. We'll make sure that we get links into descriptions, and maybe someone who's monitoring chat will throw it into chat. But there were some questions coming in through there, and Stefan, one of our regular viewers, joined us a little late, was just saying that it is extremely hot where he is in Europe.
Germany. They're like 40, 50 degrees now.
Yeah, he said it's 39 degrees Celsius at 9 o'clock at night. Yeah, that's ugly. But he also had a question saying, in the middle of that video clip, saying, do the PTZ cameras support NDI? And in that video, I don't think you were using any of the PTZOptics cameras that do, because Pearl Mini doesn't support NDI, but you guys do have models that support NDI, and we probably will have more information about that tomorrow.
Well, yeah, and for Stefan, so we're actually doing a crossover. So Paul took a look at our Pearl Mini, and we took a look at one of the PTZOptics cameras that does support NDI.
Yep.
So it's NDI HX, and on Paul's show tomorrow, we're going to be talking about our experience using the PTZ Optics NDI HX camera.
So
such a
big
tongue
mouthful.
twister. And we'll talk about our experience with that. So our Pearl 2 does support NDI and NDI HX, and currently our Pearl Mini is not supporting that functionality, but we will talk about that some more tomorrow. So Stefan, please take a look. We will have a link to Paul's upcoming show tomorrow in our show notes today.
We'll show. So Paul, tell us more about your experience unboxing and using the Pearl Mini in preparation for that video, because the video obviously makes it look like it was super easy. So maybe share your unbiased experience.
Well, I will say that I used the Epiphan Pearl, the very first one, was the very first video production system that I ever had. And I thought it was really easy to use. I had the 4 SDI inputs, and I'm thinking about 4 years ago, I live streamed a music festival with 4 SDI cameras. This is before the PTZOptics cameras even had PoE. So every camera was plugged into actual power.
Right.
I had the Epiphan Pearl with the touchscreen, and then I also had my laptop, because my laptop, I was kind of doing the layouts and things of that nature. And 4 years ago, for me to understand how to set up a little mini network where the Pearl could talk to my laptop was like magic. I had no idea what I was doing, to be honest. But now, with a little bit more networking knowledge, I immediately went to the COG and was like, what's the IP address of this thing? I need to see the details. So from a user perspective, I think this is like really great for lecture capture, small, live streams where, because a lot of times you got a lot of stuff going on. You might have a joystick controller next to this that you're looking at. The simplified look of the touchscreen where you can just touch to switch, and then if needed, you've got that configuration control over your local area network, I think is just, for a lot of people, exactly what they need, especially for those folks who are a teacher, who want to just have something simple to record directly to an SD and stream out. For folks just getting into streaming, to have that touch screen where there's not a million options here. We're talking about, choosing sources and going live. I love it. And I love the SD card in. It's so easy to just pop that in. And then the USB ports, I think it's great to show a little, to be able to plug a webcam in, because you've got your SDI input or your HDMI inputs for your your higher end cameras or your computer input that you're using. But to throw a webcam in there, like I was live streaming a music festival with that Pearl. That Pearl had a terabyte on it, I remember.
Yep.
And we were recording. I remember I came home with like 500 gigabytes of data or something. It was crazy.
Yeah.
But I wish, I don't remember if I tried using a webcam there, but in between shows when one band's done and then the next band's coming on, it's nice to have like a webcam or some extra wide angle shot that's just kind of you can cut to that maybe you're not using for the production, but kind of is used for those in between times when you're live streaming a long concert or event.
Yeah, to fill in the gaps where maybe you don't need the higher end SDI style camera or something like that. You like you say, you just need that very basic wide shot of the crowd or something like that to help fill the time, and maybe just a small title overlay or something like that to just.
We have that for our pre-roll, is the GoPro.
Well, exactly.
Right?
Yeah, we use the GoPro in the corner of the studio for exactly that. So yeah, no, exactly. That's it's always a good thing. But yeah, I really enjoyed the video and what you guys put together on it. It was really great. And obviously, you know, we've played with lots of different cameras, but we can't play with everything. So it's always great to kind of share our stuff with with people, especially guys who do cameras, and get their feedback. So really glad to hear that it was easy and enjoyable. That's a big thing. So funny enough, this came up in our pre-interview as well. Just looking at questions in chat, Danny Grizzle was just saying, PTZOptics are using a green screen set. And no, we talked about that earlier. That's a real backdrop, right?
But can you show a camera shot that maybe zooms out and shows the whole set? Yeah, this is. I know it looks like it because this wallpaper really looks like overly detailed. This studio is actually a brand new studio that we built for LinkedIn.
Hey, look at that.
So
fancy.
Kind of. Can you pan it over and show them the teleprompter maybe? So we've got all these cameras. It's a 4-camera system, and then I have a little teleprompter here that I'm looking at you guys on, so that if I need to, I can read scripts and stuff. So no, it is not a green screen, but I'm guessing, should I take that as a compliment?
Yeah, I'm not sure. I'm not sure what why Danny thought it was a green screen, but maybe because it is an interesting choice of wallpaper. I think it's really interesting. I like the pattern of it. It kind of is interesting. It's different.
Earlier, Matt and I thought it was a green screen because you have a blue light down on the bottom left corner.
Yeah,
and so we thought it was maybe the color temperature was off and it was a fill on the green screen, and it was like just a chroma blue or whatever.
Yeah,
but that's very cool. What model teleprompter are you using, Paul? Do you know which one that is?
Yeah, so this is a teleprompter called the Q script, and it actually has a television, well, not a television, but a monitor below it. So it can take an HDMI video output from our production system, so I can either see the full video of us or of you guys, or I can switch it to obviously just words on a screen.
Yeah.
So I really enjoy it. It's been great for just those long, page-long presentations that someone wants you to make of that video. They're like, Cameron, here, make this video. It's like, thank goodness for the teleprompter.
Yeah, we
I did my video without a teleprompter.
Yeah, okay,
I memorized the whole script.
Well, we were shooting our video for the NDI stuff, and we shot the whole thing with me doing it. Yeah. And I was cursing at Cameron the whole time, saying I wanted a teleprompter. But the only one we have runs off of an iPad, and it's not good at longer distance because it's just too small. So we didn't do it that way.
You do know that we reshot that video.
Yes,
right?
I know.
Okay. I'm not questioning if you actually watched it.
No, and then Cameron managed to delete everything and had to reshoot the whole thing. While
the production gods were smiling on us that day and decided, you should take another shot at this video.
Yeah.
You should make this one again.
So Cameron reshot it by himself, basically.
Zoe helped out. The Q script actually looks really cool. Does it use like voice recognition to recognize where you are in the script to roll stuff?
Show the script one more time. It has, by the way, I'm going to grab this to show you guys. It has this thing that I absolutely love. It's like a little controller that allows you to control the speed of it. Nice. So it's got a couple buttons on here. This is just like so high tech. I'm so glad that we found these guys at NAB, and they were kind of like trying to sell their show models. But there's markers. So if you have a long show or an entire story, or for example, if Tess and I are both on the show and we're kind of like reading half the script and going back and forth, you can have markers throughout your script, and I can just go up, go to Tess's script. All right, and she might want to change the speed with this dial here.
Oh,
and then
genius.
you can have different stories. So if you're a news reporter, obviously, we're not really doing high-end news here on these YouTube shows, but you can go like from story to story.
Speak for yourself.
And I was actually watching Andrew Cross at NAB do a really big speech in front of a couple hundred people, and I noticed he used teleprompters not for every word that he said, but just as an outline, just to kind of keep him on pace, so he could peek down and be like, "Oh yeah, that's what I'm talking about now."
Hey, cool.
It can be tough when you're talking to that many people.
No, absolutely, and I kind of work the same way. I work better off of bullets than a full script because I don't like how other people write, so I end up ad-libbing it anyways. But yeah, even just for that, just to have it, the bullets there really helps and be able to. That
It's just
controller is
you're
really
totally
cool.
illiterate.
It's
That's
true.
why.
It's true. I can't read.
Admit it. He's made it this far, folks.
I can't read.
No, Paul, that's really cool. I've seen the ones that like the ones I like are the ones that recognize where you are in the script. So it
That's
actually
getting a
uses
little
some voice
fancy,
recognition. It is very fancy, but that way it actually
Wow.
gives your pacing based off of how you're reading it, which
Like
is really cool.
karaoke.
Like karaoke. The one that we have that absolutely needs an upgrade
Oh, boy.
is an iPad kind of mounted underneath.
Really,
with a
it's
piece
an
of
iPad
glass.
and a mirror. Let's be honest.
Yeah, exactly.
It's
And then
nothing.
You occasionally will see a finger coming in into the shot
Scroll
to,
back
to
up.
pause it and
Scroll
adjust
back
it.
up.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So
It's not bad when you're doing recording, but it's not good for live. That's for sure.
I'm going to add that one to the wish list.
Yeah. That's awesome. So I'm going to look and see if there were any more questions in chat here. People were discussing your background and thinking it's pretty cool, so that's great.
I like the shirt too. That's a cool logo.
Yeah.
Sure, Nintendo's
yeah, the
super happy with
Nintendo.
that. Yeah.
Yeah, and then Stefan was just saying make sure we put the link to tomorrow's show in the show notes. We will. Definitely, Stefan, as soon as we wrap up, we'll do that.
And we'll share it on social as well. So
Yeah, of course.
make sure to check out our Facebook page as well as we'll probably pop it on LinkedIn. We didn't do today's episode on LinkedIn because
No.
one of the assets was tied up for that because LinkedIn currently is still using third-party software for the streaming.
Someday they'll allow an RTMP stream in, and then this will all get a lot easier, and we can always be on LinkedIn Live.
And so is this your LinkedIn Live studio then, Paul, or is this your studio for producing LinkedIn content?
We're still trying to figure that out. One thing I will say is that we've done a little bit of LinkedIn live streaming to both my personal page and our company page. And interestingly enough, when we stream to the personal page, we get way more interactivity and viewers.
Interesting.
I think it's partially because pages don't have like second and third degree connections the way that a person does.
True,
okay.
true. Yeah.
Interesting.
The way that the algorithm seems to work is that they call this viral engagement. If a first degree person starts engaging, it's more likely that they'll share it with a second degree person. If a first and then a second degree starts engaging, it's possible that it could go to a third,
Right.
which is as far as that tree would go. But it can go pretty far pretty quickly if a lot of people are engaging with your content.
It's not one of the things we discussed when we did our show on LinkedIn Live.
I got that third degree engagement burn.
Yeah,
Ouch.
exactly.
No, that's a really good point. And I wonder maybe, because we are obviously like, I don't know if you guys are too, but we're giving feedback to LinkedIn through the beta program. So that would actually be cool if you could inherit maybe the people that are appearing on that LinkedIn feed on their page and then inherit their actual profile for that engagement or something. But it's definitely a great product now and it has lots of room for improvement. So it'd be cool to see where it heads.
Yeah. So we did have Stefan asking some questions about using secure streaming methods out of PTZ cameras. And so maybe, Paul, this is one you might be able to answer. So he first asked about NDI, which we answered that, and then he was asking if the PTZOptics cameras support a method of encrypted RTSP. I don't think I saw that in there when I was looking at it.
We are aware that is going to be somewhat mandatory to stream to Facebook Live.
Right.
But we do not currently support RTMP-S.
Right.
And
so
we brought it up to the engineers. They are aware of that. I hope that there will be a firmware update to support that, but I don't have any clear answers on when that will come.
Right. Okay. Yeah, because I'm trying to see which. Yeah. So he's actually specifically asking about SRTP, which is Secure Real-Time Protocol, but I don't know of any IP cameras that use that at all, to be honest. That's a fairly uncommon protocol.
We get asked about that kind of stuff a lot, like AV1 is another one that a lot of them are. And currently, you can do RTMP streaming off the PTZOptics cameras, but they're really meant to be plugged into something like the Pearl Mini, be produced with. That's the RTSP and RTMP streaming is just something that is there, almost as a monitor feed.
Right. Yeah. So it's so to Stefan's question, I am not aware of any IP cameras that use those other less common protocols. Definitely for RTMPS especially, like Paul mentioned, that is essentially mandatory as of August 1st, I think, for Facebook Live. And eventually everyone will move that direction. But again, that's primarily more on the encoder side, and obviously, you guys will probably update the cameras to do that as well, which is pretty straightforward. But RTSP as a different stream protocol is usually these days used within an internal local network as opposed to an external, simply because it's not the greatest across the internet. It's got its own kind of funny issues, and it's more of a unicast kind of thing. So
are you talking about the delays for doing PTZ?
Okay, I see why Stefan's asking. He's asking because he wants to use it in a courthouse, but any network communication has to be encrypted. It's mandatory. That's a challenge. That's a big challenge, Stefan, because I can't think of any IP cameras that really do that off the top of my head, even internally, locally, because it's just not a common practice. So,
well, I think your IP camera would be on if he was to create a subnet within that network or create his own network. To be. I mean, if it was a dedicated network that isn't exposed to anything else, then you could obviously use NDI pretty safely as well. But yeah, most of those other ones are not really set up that way. So, but Stefan, if you want to continue that conversation, please send us an email. You know how to reach us. And I'd love to continue that conversation with you offline and figure out what we might be able to do to help you figure something out there, because that's a challenge one for sure. Yeah, interesting. Let's see. Try to see if there's any other questions in here. So Danny was saying, so LinkedIn cannot be streamed from a Pearl Mini currently. No. So currently LinkedIn Live only supports certain software-based encoding options from computers, things like Wirecast, vMix. You've been using vMix or Wirecast for your stuff, Paul?
Actually, as far as I know, it's not necessarily the software itself, but more like a cloud-based streaming solution. So a lot of people have been using Restream.io.
Okay.
And we have been using a software called Go Easy Live, which I really, really like. But so it's, you can use even the Pearl Mini to stream to Restream.io, and then they seem to have access. Like, I guess LinkedIn has given a handful. I do think Wirecast is on there actually.
It
but
is. That's what we've used. They basically, LinkedIn created an API and gave it to a few cloud and software-based people, but they haven't allowed direct RTMP ingestion yet. So that's kind of what. From our perspective, for the Pearls, that's what we've been waiting for. Is eventually, I suspect they will open up direct RTMP ingestion, and then.
Well, maybe we need to try out the Restream.io and see, because then we can set it up from the Pearl and then just let the cloud deal with it. Because oftentimes, like, we're limited by the hardware that we have. So, I'm using my laptop for comments, and we did the video off of there, and then we have another laptop that we use, and we're using that today to bring in Paul. So with that, we just don't have the resources to actually continue that stream.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, with Go Easy Live, we stream one high quality stream to them, and they stream to Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, LinkedIn, and Twitter, all for us.
Cool.
Up in the cloud.
Yeah, we might have to go back into that Restream account that we have somewhere.
And we'll see, maybe, because Stream Shark would be another option as well.
We'll have to see what they added. I don't know if they've integrated that yet, but we'll check.
Well, they should be on the list. If they're not, that would be
exactly. We'll check
for sure.
So that's great. So we kind of got pretty distracted from our original topic there, but it's always great to talk to Paul.
I thought we had Paul on to talk about his teleprompter.
Exactly. We're talking
the whole point of today's show.
But it's always great to talk to you, Paul. Was there anything else you wanted to share with us about your experience with the Pearl Mini? And of course, everyone, please go check out PTZOptics video on it, which we'll link that through. But anything else you wanted to share with us about that experience that we haven't already discussed?
Well, I love the size of it. Like I said, I've always been a big fan of the Epiphan Pearl itself. I actually just have a Pearl 1. I don't have the Pearl 2. But the size of this thing is incredible. You know, to slide this in, like I have a little travel case I throw some PTZ cameras into. It's got a router and it's got a PoE switch. I could easily, without even carving out a large space, stick this in there. So I love the form factor, what you guys done here. It looks really durable, the case and everything. I mean, I get it. You know, when I work with so many people who are just getting started with streaming, and you know, this is something that for anybody who's, you know, worried about whether or not they're going to be able to handle a couple cameras and do a multi-camera shoot, this seems like the perfect entry point switcher. So congratulations, guys. You really boiled it down to exactly what people need, and not you know, scare them away with too many bells and whistles, if you will. It's got everything that they need.
It's a tight little unit, and obviously, like, having such a big display does double as a confidence monitor. So Zoe, one of our interns here, is actually doing some testing with it, and one of the reasons that she likes it is because it can act as a confidence monitor. And Paul, I don't know if you touched on this in the video, but it does have a VESA mount on the bottom.
There's screw holes in the back that are VESA mount. Yeah, we kind of hid that one there.
So yeah, you can put it on a mount. You can have it on a stand.
Yeah, we have had people that have put it on a mount or on a gooseneck kind of thing, and just used the Pearl as a podium almost, just by bolting it to something. So we kind of designed it with some of those interesting things in mind. Danny was mentioning in chat here that for his, he also bought our accessory hard case for it, which is a lot like the Pearl 2 hard case, which is also a great piece to again, bring it around very, very easily. You know, it's well under airplane carry-on size. So if you got to go somewhere and do that shoot, it's nice and easy. So, well, that's awesome. Well, I think we're getting kind of late on time, so maybe we'll wrap up here. So thank you very much for joining us, Paul, as always. We'll see you at IBC, of course, and we're looking forward to all the content between now and then. And then, of course, everyone watching, make sure to tune into the PTZOptics show tomorrow to see more of Cameron talking about the video we shot.
Talk about megabits and megabytes. And
yeah, no, don't screw that up. I already told you the cheat sheet on that. So
MBPS.
Yeah, exactly. Just spell out the acronym, and then no one can accuse you of messing it up.
But yeah, check it out. That's tomorrow at 2 o'clock. And Paul, where can they watch that? You just said you're basically everywhere. So LinkedIn, YouTube, Facebook, Twitter.
Yeah, we're going to try to get it out to everywhere.
Awesome.
That'll be at 2 p.m. Eastern, 11 a.m. Pacific.
Sweet.
Perfect. And of course, you're just PTZOptics on all of the things.
All the social
Pretty much,
things.
yeah.
Easy to find that way. That's fantastic. Thanks so much, Paul, and we will see you very soon.
Thanks, Paul.
Sounds good. Thanks, everybody. Bye.
Oh, and we have an Instagram contest going on.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
So
I got that in time.
Yeah,
okay.
yeah. We'll throw that in there. The Instagram contest. Catch that. Follow, like, comment.
Yeah, we're going to be giving away, or we are giving away a couple of webcasters. So please take a look at our Instagram feed, and you'll be able to enter and win.
Yeah. So again, if you're not following us yet, I know some of our viewers are, but if you're not yet, do that, and we'll be good to go.
Yeah, exactly. Who doesn't like free stuff?
Yeah, everyone.
But thank you for watching, and thanks again to Paul, and we'll see you next week.
Thanks.